If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you, will only confuse you. You have a system of white supremacy in place. What you want to do, or should want to do, is replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice. Now, the system of justice has never existed, as far as anybody knows in recorded history, because you give a definition to the word justice. There is no legal definition for the word justice, I have been informed. So you give it a compensatory definition. That's when I started writing. That's why I call the work that I've put out the compensatory code, meaning making up for what's missing. What's missing is justice. More than anything else on earth among people is justice, but you have to have a definition that makes sense. So I came up with the initial term back in the 1950s of balance between people. But that doesn't explain anything in detail. Sounds catchy, but it's not in detail. See, it's all in the details. So I came up recently with, I'll say in the last 10 years, with a more elaborate and more detailed definition, and it's in two parts. Compensatory definition of justice is as follows: guaranteeing that no person is mistreated. That's part one. Part two, guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most help. Just logically speaking, there's only one race of people, because race is racism. Anytime you're a member of a race, you are a racist. Being a racist is the only purpose for being a member of a race. People are not naturally members of a race. People are just people, and they join tribes or whatnot, or they become associated with other people, and they call them by different names: tribes, associations, affiliations, fraternities, sororities, clubs, gangs. But these are just associations that people have with each other. If people have associations with each other voluntarily, and they're in a masterful position, and they are basing their associations on the color of people, then those are racist, particularly when they are using the designation of race as a color and using it in a way that they are opposed to people being treated correctly. Black people never joined any race. Black people were like most people when it started, by all the records that that people have come up with. All of the people on the planet were basically tribal people. You belong to this tribe, you belong to that tribe. You had family names. I mean, that was basically how it probably started out, just by your family name. And then that family would wed with another family, and then several families would come together and make what you call a quote-unquote tribe. And so people who were called Choctaws and Cherokees and Seminoles, these were tribes. But then the white supremacists came along and say, oh, we don't care anything about your tribes. You're a bunch of red people. You're a bunch of brown people. You're a bunch of people who are not white. And therefore, we're going to go to work on you in no uncertain terms. And you're going to catch hell, whether you know it or not. But hell is what we bring for people like you. picking one or two here, one or two there, all over the entire planet, and putting them on the covers of magazines and say, now, these are quality black people. We don't have many of them, but we do have a few, and we're going to showcase them as examples of what other black people should at least make an attempt to be in their own feeble efforts that we'll allow them to make. So they will showcase those two or three black people. Now it's gotten to the place where the cost of the business of racism is going up. So you can't get by with this 2 or 3 black people up front, or 200 or 300. It's going to run into the millions now. So in the future, in the near future, you'll have as many as maybe 3, 4, 5 million black people, non-white people, black, brown, red, yellow, who have much money, palaces, chariots, vehicles, and whatnot, and they'll be showcased. Houses, fine clothes, they'll be showcased. They will be the ones who the cameras will be on. And it will give the illusion, because confusion is about illusion, that, well, racism is post now. There's no more racism. Just look at all the black people riding around in the fine cars. Look at all the dark-skinned people who are living in palaces, some of them. Many of them, not just a few dozen, but thousands and millions, doing much better than many white people. So racism doesn't exist anymore. You can't say racism anymore. No, no. Look at all of these dark-skinned people with all of these wonderful lifestyles, swimming pools, the whole 9 yards, private planes. Look at them. That's the showcasing. But what that's designed to do is give the illusion that racism is over. But what they don't show you is the quadrillions of dark-skinned people who don't have a decent cup of water to drink, and who are starving by the quadrillions, and who are being killed by the millions, and killing each other by being armed by different segments of the races in population tailoring. But that showcasing, if you mention anything like that, they will say, oh no, don't look at that. Look at these 10 or 12 that I'm putting on showcase today. And that's the technique. And so far it's working. Now what will keep it from working is to reveal it, like I'm doing right at this minute. Because when you reveal what a deceptive person is doing, they start losing power from that moment on.